and welcome to today's webinar. I'm very excited to introduce today's speaker. She's a former colleague at Accenture. She's a former alumni at the African Women Entrepreneurship Cooperative, and she's a very inspiring female entrepreneur doing great things. So it's with pleasure that I open the floor and welcome Abimbola Adebakin to take us through her entrepreneurial journey as the CEO of Advantage Health Africa. Welcome, Bimbo.
Thank you so much, Glory. And thank you for everyone who's signed on quite early. I'm impressed, and I hope that this 1 hour session with you is worth your while, and that you can take some nuggets from here that you'll be able to use, as you go further on your own journey, wherever you are. You might be in a corporate world right now. You might be out there also like me, doing your thing. Whatever status you have currently, I do hope some of this will help you to progress and move further. So as Glory said, my name is Abimbola Adebakin. Just by way of introduction, let me show my face a bit, and then I will share the slides again. So, okay, can you all see my face?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right, so I'm speaking from home today, and hopefully we shall pick up pace. So it's 7:08 now, and I will share the slides from time to time. I might come back to just talk so you can see my face. Sometimes it helps with conversations. Okay, so first thing is we have an outline, and I'll be talking about me a bit, which hopefully will not be more than a few seconds. Then essentials of a platform, because I'm talking about growing a platform business in Africa. So it's important that I talk about a platform business. What you've seen several examples from the intro to this webinar. So, and I'm sure some of you are curious, what is a platform and how does it differ from a software, or how does a platform differ from a regular business? And I'll talk about my business and overcoming hurdles that I've met along the way. Some of these hurdles I might have forgotten, but the ones that I'm going to be sharing with you today are probably present in my mind now. And feel free to ask questions towards the end if you think that I could address a few other things. And then I'll go on to the lessons that I've picked up along my journey and address those questions that you put together. So just about Abimbola. So I am a pharmacist. Many in my world do not understand that I'm a pharmacist. I am, first of all, a pharmacist. Yes, I studied at the University of Lagos and graduated in 1996, and served in 1998. Then when I worked at a particular consulting company called FITC, they handle consulting, training, and research on, focused on the financial services sector. I had a leader then, the MD, who I admired, and one of the things she was able to bring on board was the deep love for advancing yourself, growing your capabilities. So I paid myself to become a certified performance technologist. Why am I emphasizing the fact that I paid for it? Because it was open to everyone to try as much as possible to go for this. It's issued by the International Society for Performance Improvement, based in the US, but having a global presence. One of the things that I admired about ISPI, that institute, was that the standards and codes that they use for certified performance technologies was what was adopted by the country called Rwanda. And Rwanda used that in overturning and resetting themselves in their public service, in their private sector. And we all see what is happening today in Rwanda. So I took that certification quite seriously, and I'm glad I have it. So I show it off as much as possible, not so much as just to have another, cliche certificate, but for you to know that you can advance yourself progress, but pay for it. You don't need to wait for your organization to do it for you. A few others, had the opportunity but didn't do it. So I'm a healthcare innovator. That's what I call myself now. So you see, I've had several careers, and you hear a bit about it. I'm a mom. I'm a mom of one son, Ifeoluwa, and I'm also a wife of Oluwa Jimmy Adebakin. All right. So I'm CEO Advantage Health Africa. And what is Advantage Health Africa? It's like an umbrella of all sorts of ventures that we're putting together in health innovation. Anything that embraces tech, networking, and aggregation. That's what we're doing under Advantage Health Africa. We launched our first notable venture 2017, October 1, just a month ahead of me becoming age 46. And I say this because I celebrated it on Instagram, because I also saw another person doing notable things at that age. And I said, it's not too late for you to start your venture. Never fall under the pressure to do it now, because there's some pressure of time. Please don't. It's not too late to start your venture. And if you are advanced in age and you want to start a venture and you're thinking, look, I'm not like these young people, I don't have the energy, I don't have the zeal, forget it. At your own pace, please start it, because you're denying the world of a solution that is in you, tied to you, and can only and ever be uniquely produced by you. So age is nothing but a number when it comes to being your own entrepreneur and adding your own value to the world. My cardinal truth in life is, look, self-awareness is vital for your peace of mind and growth. I came across this concept of self-awareness mid 2010. And from that time on to now, I have promoted it everywhere I go. I say many leaders, many people that rise to positions of influence tend to miss that lesson in their journey. And it is to the detriment of not just themselves and their career, but also those who look up to them. So in any way, if you can grow your self-awareness, don't think it's just, because you want to grow in the corporate ladder and rise, promotion upon promotion. No, it's for you as a human being doing anything impactful out there. You must know who you are. You must know what your strengths are, and you must know what your limitations are. Then you use the energy of understanding your strengths, the unique perspective and gift that you bring to the table. You use the strength from that to address your limitations. No one of us is perfect. All of us have gaps and limitations. Please do not look down on yourself. First of all, look up on yourself regarding those things that are unique to you, your strengths, your perspective, the way you are able to tackle a problem, your own approach to relationships, the way you perceive the world. Those things are strengths about you. And guess what? Not everybody is like you. Then when you focus more on your strengths, guess what? You will be better able to address your limitations. Because limitations come with every package. Don't ignore them. So just to round up a bit about me, is that I believe there are opportunities all across Africa. Opportunities manifesting right, left, center. Sometimes they come dressed as problems. My husband and I have a song that we sing whenever we hear something else happening, and he's having to take hold of that opportunity, and it appears as problems. So we sing this. It's a popular local song now. Song, I don't know who sang it. I'm a new problem. Oh, I'm a new problem. Oh. And that is what we keep singing now. Because with every problem, if you are the one who is able to provide the solution, guess what? You will make something out of it. So we see all sorts of problems all over Africa. I see problems in Nigeria, and I'm saying, wow, look at opportunities. Even just all around us right now with coronavirus, we know that it's an opportunity time for people. I'm not saying we should go about scheming and taking advantage of people when there are problems. I'm saying be the one who provides solutions when problems rear their head. Be the one who brings value, who brings an understanding of a need. Where there's a scarcity, you are able to provide support and resources that translates that scarcity almost immediately into an oasis. And then I also believe that everybody wants to enjoy themselves. Everybody wants to live this life in a way that you don't have regrets. And for me, I love events. I love to create events. Even a meal, a small meeting, I can turn it into an event and say, oh, let's meet in the restaurant. That's the kind of person I am. So movies, for example, I might go for watch a movie after this webinar. It's important to me, and it's important to you as entrepreneurs to make sure that you are balancing the act as much as possible. I'm not quite one of the fans of a balanced life. I don't think there's really much of a balance. It's for you to know your context at that point in time and move on with it. Finally, trust and loyalty are very big, very important to me. I don't think I need to explain that further. So essentials of a platform. So I remember I talked about this in the intro. What's the difference between a platform business and a regular business? And the platform is no, it is not a software. I'm not talking about building a software here. I'm talking about a platform. A platform focuses on 4 key things because you want to create an ecosystem that enables entities within the system to thrive. That is so important. And in thriving, it could be entities, it could be individuals, it could be countries. You want to create a platform that is shared, that is accessible, that is responsible, a platform that people begin to depend upon. And sooner or later, their lifestyle, their business style, their work and ethics, and everything around them revolves around being in that platform or using that platform. And examples abound. Right now, we see platforms. Facebook is a platform. It's a powerful, vast communication platform, marketing platform, information platform, relationship platform, but it is a platform. And if you are building a platform, well, first of all, you need to build an audience. Who is your audience? In looking at us, and I'll show you a few slides, what we saw as our audience was the independent pharmacy owner who comes as one, an individual, and 2, a pharmacy, a community pharmacy, registered and present in a community. So who is your audience? You must first of all build that audience. And I usually, counsel that if you're building an audience and they don't know you, you have no precedence, you have no real, it's not as though you've had 15 years of doing this thing. I think you should lower the entry barriers into your platform. When you bring it down, crash it, the way we're seeing many others do, Facebook, Google, and so on, they crash their entry barriers such that the audience is large. But what happens with a large audience is that all sorts of people come in. The good, the bad, the ugly, the nasty, the frustrating, they come into the platform. Please calm down. Do not at any time become frazzled because you've welcomed all sorts. What you should plan is that sooner or later, the rules and standards for being inside this platform will be established. If we try as much as possible to provide the rules and standards in a friendly user, in a user-friendly, acceptable manner, guess what happens? There's very little resistance to rules and standards. I'm a sticker for rules. I love standards. I want to, have standards for everything, that we do. But I'm also a very perceptive person. And I understand that if you put rules in front of a person, most times you chase them back. Secondly, they try to circumvent those rules because it's too early and they have not yet understood the basis for it. So as much as possible, don't push your rules, your standards on those entities that have formed the audience of your platform. The third thing you must look out for in a platform is what services are they here to enjoy? What are you really bringing on board? And you know what? If you're the platform builder, it doesn't have to be you that provides those services. You might actually create a platform for students, for example, all across campuses, and you say, you know what? All of your exams and your exam reading, the photocopying, the notes and all that, it will come to you, it will arrive to you, blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to be the one doing the photocopying and the logistics and the delivery and all of that. No, you have simply created a platform where they, the people who provide the services, can exist in a non-compete, fair, and unbiased environment that you create. So you see, your work is to create a conducive, attractive environment that brings in the service providers. Sometimes you find that there's no service provider to address a particular need that you have. Then you go ahead and create it. So the point is, sometimes the tools and the services that are present in your platform might or might not be created by you. Never mind about that. So long as you are bringing them on, the fourth thing you do in the platform is you create matchmaking, and you create a matchmaking environment. You begin to match somebody's needs with someone who has the provision. Matchmaking takes time. Matchmaking comes with, and it's like an art. You don't, it doesn't come scientifically because people are different. The person in Port Harcourt that you think would embrace a cheaper solution might say, no, I don't necessarily want cheap. I want fast. Another person that you think wants fast will say, no, I don't necessarily want fast. I want information ahead and information at the back. That's what is important to me. Different things are important to different people in your audience. Now, the skill you have to bring to bear is the skill of knowing the peculiarities of your audience. It takes time. It requires a lot of dedication and work, and that is where the entrepreneurial can-do spirit comes in. You can see an end while others are just seeing the beginning. You can see it across Nigeria while others are still wondering why you're not just focused on Lagos. You can understand that your whole market is the 1 billion people in Africa, and others are wondering how you're going to tackle French, Francophone, and Lusophone countries. For you, you are the one that sees the end. Once an entrepreneur can see the end game, don't worry about the fact that that end game can shift or may need to pivot on your way. But so long as you can see an end game of you bringing together a large audience, and you are the one finding the tools and services for them to benefit from, and you are the one setting and giving guidelines and rules and standards, and you are matchmaking them, you are in for a platform business. And that's what we're doing all across our businesses. We're Africans solving African problems. Remember earlier I said that I see problems everywhere, therefore I see opportunities everywhere. For us, when we started and launched MyMedicines.com, we saw that there were people going all around. And ask yourself, they go from one pharmacy to the next one, and then they don't have the medicine, go to the next one. They don't have, what's happening? We'll buy it for you. Anyway, they will go to 6 pharmacies and give up and say the medicine doesn't exist. Sometimes the doctor has written a very important medicine they're meant to take. They can't find it. There's no substitute, or they don't go back to get a substitute, and the disease condition continues, or it could even be fatal. We have seen fatality from poor access to medicine. So when we created MyMedicines.com, we wanted individuals to know that they can find their medicines, that they are not necessarily meant to walk from pharmacy to pharmacy, slapping the street and frustrated. If you are in Benin, it does not mean the medicine cannot come to you. What it just means is that somebody has to be deliberate about finding that item amongst their own audience, finding the service provider that will provide the logistics, knowing the standards and the guidelines for medicine care and medicine handling, and then ensuring that we matchmake the individual that wants the medicine and the pharmacy that has it available, whether the pharmacy is in Lagos or is in Abuja. or wherever across Nigeria. So with mymedicines.com, we created a platform. We created a platform along the 4 lines that I've shared with you earlier, and we're doing the same now with MyPharmacy. We're aggregating pharmacies under a chain, whereby they form the audience of a credible chain, because chains can be formed in 3 different ways or more. One way is for a corporate body to set up branches all across, or for a group to say, let us start buying things together, and they're addressing their supply side. Or for someone like us who has some templates, some guidelines, some insights, and some models. And then say, using our models and our systems and our relationships and all that, let us bring entities together and form a chain. And that's what we've done with MyPharmacy. We're replicating a platform business with my advantage, which will provide credit to individuals all across Nigeria and Africa ultimately when they want to access healthcare. My clinic is also going to be an aggregation of clinics, and my labs an aggregation of labs. These are the concrete platform that we're creating under the Advantage Health Africa model. Ultimately, we've seen something in China called 111, and I was like, oh wow, this seems to be what we're going to have. They've got over 100 million clients accessing healthcare on their platform. So they've created an integrated online and offline healthcare platform in China. When we were creating our own online, offline platform, we didn't even see a model. We hadn't seen one, but we knew that that was the end game. It's not enough to be online. It's not enough to be offline. You need a hybrid model. That's what we said we're doing now. Why are we so focused on this? Because if you look at the top 6 sectors that represent 94% of what people spend money on in Nigeria, it's these 6. Clothing, they spend money on clothing. Food, spend money on shelter, on health, on energy, on household goods. So if you are here listening to this webinar, guess what? What are you doing in this space? How can you tap into this space? Even if your specialization is music engineering, how can you bring your sound engineering to bear in any of these 6 sectors? Are you able to understand how people listen to music on the go and use it to create a household good or something that helps people to listen to music in their kitchens or in their bathroom? I have friends that if we get into the bathroom, we've got our phones on. Who is helping to rig up our houses for things like that? So that's what I mean. Whatever your specialization, find something to do where people are spending money. And then the other thing is, the journey can be rough. In fact, there's a Chinese proverb that says, may your way be rough. I heard it in the university, and it stuck with me. May your way be rough. You can find hurdles in many ways, but I just thought to categorize mine under these 3 broad headings: people matters, resources, and under governance. Working alone might seem convenient because right now it's your idea, it's your business, it's you doing it. You don't have money to pay anybody. It's just me, and all. But it can do your head in. It can wear you out. As much as possible, find 3 sets of people. People who will teach you how to do things. Another set of people who will help you to do. Another set of people are people who will spend their resources to enable you to do. My prayer is that you will take that request to God or whoever it is that you look up to and ask that you find those 3 sets of people in your entrepreneurial journey. Working alone is not convenient. It provides you some benefit, but I think that there are limited benefits. I know that working with other people is a big deal because then you trust them and they will disappoint you. They will make promises and they will deliver just 10%. Or they'll be working with you, and then money will come in and then there's a quarrel. And I say, why did I even have these people in the my dear? Trust and vulnerability form the bedrock of working with people, and it can crush you or strengthen you. I've been crushed time and time again. But the same me will tell you I'm very fortunate with people. I get a lot of people coming to work with me, and I ask myself, how have I deserved this human being that is just so trusting, so willing to put chip in, so supportive, so in it with me on a journey that I didn't even believe myself that I could go on. When people believe in you, it's a humbling, it's a humbling feeling. And for me, I think that people love you first. They want to be with you on this journey. Then the vision and the organization comes in. So don't mix it up. Don't waste that love. Don't don't wear them out. Don't push them away. As much as possible, begin to learn to take baby steps in trusting people if that's an issue you have. Or if you're like me, trust many. Some will fail, some will still stay. You're still good. So you might have hurdles with the people issues. I've tried to talk from one angle, but you might have another angle. I'm happy to answer your questions at the end. Another a key area for hurdle is resources. Some people call it money, but it's more than money, resources. And many of us as startups have started with zero capital. Zero capital. I've heard someone talk at a podium, we were talking about zero capital model, blah, blah, blah. I was saying to myself, what are you talking about? It's a no-brainer. Almost all of us start with zero capital. Even if you have some capital, it's never enough. If you like, go and save 6 million where you're working. When you come out into the real world, they'll tell you, oh, make sure you have savings up to 6 months. I laugh sometimes. I tell people, please have up to 3 years savings, because money flies very quickly on an entrepreneurial journey. Things that you do not even think will happen, they happen. Plan for them. Sometimes you have to share office for you to have an office. Right now, it's become more popular for you to be in some, workspace. So don't be shy to have a workspace and use it. It will give you internet access. It will give you people access. It will give you some visibility, and it will give you space. Do not say, oh, I must have my own office before I know I've started. It's not worth it. Some things are just for show. As much as possible, handle resources as necessity, not for show. Capital comes in different ways. And one of the greatest things that I have enjoyed in my journey is social capital. What is social capital? To me, it's the ability to say that, look, I've got somebody somewhere. That if I do make a request, I hardly make requests, but if I do make a request, I know that person will go the long haul for me. Now, it might come from the fact that I've admired that person has admired me, we've worked together before, we've been neighbors before, we've been friends of friends, we've had mutual friends or something. But I tend to find that people have opened doors for me that I could not have imagined were even existing. So social capital is critical. If you are running around looking for money, check yourself. First of all, check whether you have, built a social capital that is bankable, where people will give you credit of 6 months or give you a location to use for 3 events and say, pay me later. Or they will give you this, they will give you their time and work for you for months, knowing that when you hit the money, you will pay me. I have salaries that I'm going to pay this March that I have been owing some people for over 16 months. We just raised some capital and now I'm able to pay them. That for me was social capital. I could not pay those salaries, and I negotiated with them at a point in time. And I said, look, guys, we don't have money, but this vision still has to go on. Do you agree that when we have money, it wasn't a matter of if we get money, it was simply a matter of when. And these human beings, men and women that I knew before from nowhere, some of them I even met them on Twitter, started working with me, and now I'm able to pay them 16 months after. That's a social capital. The next capital that I think is vital is intellectual capital. Can you see where I've placed financial capital? Intellectual capital. because your insight and your understanding and your ability to see models from other sectors and bring them to apply in your own sector is so critical. For example, if you're a student union leader, you might be able to borrow a model from market women, the way they are organized, the way they report, their organization, their bureaucratic system, their support system, the way they use technology. Yes, you heard me right. They use technology to send messages such that if the yellow jar says that nobody is going to sell meat in this market today, because we are mourning the dead, no human being dares to sell meat. How has that kind of power worked in that environment? You might learn something and use that model and put it in your own student body, and you see things happen. That is the power of your intellect. You're able to study what is happening in Bangladesh. For example, how they are managing their mental patients, the patients that have some deficit with maybe they have some disabilities and they are working, but they are providing for themselves while being integrated into the society. And you then have such people here in Nigeria, and you are saying you don't know what to do. My dear audience, you know what to do. The first thing to do is go and find out what is happening in other climes. Are there countries like our own, Brazil, Mexico, Uruguay, Venezuela, or let's say Vietnam, or India, or Bangladesh, Malaysia, Indonesia? Are there countries that are like ours that I can study from, that I can learn from, that I can look at their sectors? You don't have to travel there, but if you can afford to travel, please don't waste your money going to Dubai if it is not Dubai that is the country you want to study. Spend that money, save it, 50,000 naira every month. By the end of 1 year, you have 600,000 naira. Take it, buy ticket for 425, sell 5 nights at $20, that's 36,000. Add it, put money aside for transportation. You get what I mean? And go to that country. Forge a relationship with someone that will welcome you there or not, and find out what is happening in that industry. Stop sitting back on your bum and saying that you don't know what to do. Intellectual capital is vital for you to build a platform business, because you have to be broad-minded. You have to be able to connect the dots. It's a huge endeavor to embark upon. So it's better if you can see where it is working. If it's working in agri and you want to now apply it in pharmacy, please go ahead. I saw something in agri when I left the Tony Elumelu Foundation, and I quickly did a stint at the African Agribusiness Incubator Network across Africa. I did it in Ghana. I saw their incubator network and system. I helped to build a strategy for financing them, and it helped me to understand issues around access to markets, access to resources, and access to skills. That has been the mantra of what we're now doing in Advantage Health Africa. So sometimes you borrow intellectual insights from other sectors and you apply, or other countries and you apply, or other companies and you apply. So it's not always about you inventing, okay, I've invented my own thing, it isn't quite innovation. Forget it. That work was for you for newspaper. You can borrow models and apply. Later, it wasn't look like that thing you borrowed before, but it formed the foundation. Then there's financial capital, and I'm sure you've attended, so you have actually gathered your clients, and they have paid you maybe for 6 months ahead or for 1 year ahead. That is also capital. Find money, but find just the money that you need. I don't encourage people to sell too much of their shares too early in their business. At least try and hold 51 in the first instance. But anyway, let me not go there about what percentage of shares sell to get capital, because it's not always equity that you need to raise. Some of you need to raise debt, but before you raise debt equity and debt capital, make sure you can pay it back based on the arrangement you have. If you are raising debt from a friendly source, as much as possible, negotiate a moratorium. That is a period before you need to begin to pay back. That moratorium can be up to 6 months, but you can then give something in return. For example, if your interest rate would have been 10% with that moratorium, with a moratorium, you might offer to pay back at 14%. The person might be willing to take it and still help support you. I have a friend very early in my entrepreneurial journey who came to me and said, Abimbola, do you need 500,000 naira? And I was like, oh, yes, please, I need any money I can get, I need. And she gave me 500,000 naira, but she didn't it wasn't as she was awash with cash. She said, look, I would have put this money in treasury bills. This is so and so interest that treasury bills will give me. Can you pay me that amount rounded up? So let's say, for example, treasury bills at that time would have given her 17%. So I said, I'll pay you 20%. And therefore, the capital, the principal that she gave to me as 500,000 remained 500,000, but every quarter I paid her 25,000 and 25,000, and we did it for 2 years. It was just recently I was able to pay her back her 500,000. That is financial capital. If you can find such, go for it, but make sure you pay back, please. Over and over, grace and favor with people have helped me to avoid drowning. And so these kinds of things come. And so I would just like to recommend that you have grace and favor with you. And well, how I got it from God. So please go and meet him to give you your own. Under governance is another area of hurdle because you want to scale. I'll say please slow down if you haven't gotten a good governance system. Because if you scale too quickly and you blow up, you will blow out, you will burn, and we won't see you again. So have a good governance structure in place. Some of you have asked, how do I hire a board? Hiring a board is not the first thing you do. Find people who will advise you. So what I had up until December last year was a set of advisors. Some of them were associates who gave me of their professional capabilities, while some gave me just their advice from time to time. So I formed them into what I called an advisory board. We only met maybe once or twice, but we didn't even meet the whole advisory board at any point in time. It was for us, maybe there were sounding boards at meetings. So we'd have a quarterly meeting with all the team, and one of them would show up and talk to us and leave or stay with us to the end. And that's how we did it all through. So I called them my advisory board. Once from time to time, I send them emails and they try to look into what I was doing. For example, one was there to make sure that we had clear terms of reference amongst the team. Another one was there to say, look, the people working with you after a while, they'll be tired, do this, do that. Another one was that, that person you burnt a bridge with, go and remedy, go and fix that bridge you burnt. You never know when you will need him or her. They advise you. They help you also see that. One of them was saying, look, Abimbola, are you sure you have somebody in your team that can challenge you? These people, can they challenge you? It helped me to think that, look, I must foster a system or a team that challenges me and can challenge me confidently and all that. So that's what you need first. Later, you can then set up a board of directors. The board of directors then are formalized and they have a fiduciary responsibility towards your company. So please start with an advisory board. It can be 2 people, it can be 3 people. I had 5 people at a point in time, and I think I benefited a lot from them. I benefited from big brothers or big sisters in the industry, people that admired what I was doing, and I looked up to them, and from time to time, they waded into situations and all that. I can never forget them. I can only say, if you can find such, you're very fortunate, you have grace behind you, but please use use them as much as possible. I know time is running out, so I'm going to try and hasten what I'm saying. Now, in governance is this topic of communication. And I'm sure you're wondering, how has communication got to do with governance? Communication means you open up your platform for scrutiny, you engage. You are speaking to the audience, you are speaking to the service providers, you are doing the matchmaking, and you are transparent. It is not a nice to do, it is a must do. I remember when I started the year 2019, I said, to improve communication, I need to keep engaging my audience. What will I do? I had this brainwave. Let me find a way to send them a note every morning before 10 o'clock. So I started on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. By Saturday, I was tired. So I picked it up again the next Monday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I said, you know what? I'll be sending you this note weekdays, Monday to Friday. And I created a system around it. I had a colleague of mine who sent me a prompt. So she would send me a quote. I would use the quote to write something. And I did this consistently for I have some people who are with me today referencing that communication period, that was what made them trust me more to work with me, even though I'm leading them along a journey that is not so clear to them. So do you get me? This is about creating corporate governance and systems that create trust and solidarity. Vigilance is also very important. Yes, you have systems and you have processes, but from time, look behind those processes and say, is it working? Is this system working? Can it be more efficient? And the four questions you must ask yourself is, who else can do what we're doing? How else can we do it? What else can we even be doing? And when else should we be doing it? If you do that, you'll be vigilant. You will not take things for granted. You will have that project management mind that says, what can go wrong? And when you are doing that, they said, only the paranoid survive. When you are checking and calling systems and processes, you'll probably be improving them as things go on. So some lessons that I've picked up, and I'll finalize with this. I've picked up that you must start small, but definitely think big. I knew when I started Advantage Health, it was called Advantage Health in 2010. When I left to go back into the business consulting world and then the entrepreneurship world and came back, my eyes had opened to a bigger world. Today we're called Advantage Health Africa. That was us starting small but thinking big. We think that Africa is our oasis, is our land to have, and that's where we're gunning for. Number two is that be ready to pivot. If you're hitting your head against something and there is a need to change it, don't be too quick to jump and change, okay? So that you don't give up. Don't be too quick to jump and change. But please make sure you are paying attention to optional models and approaches. And I'll give you an example. At the time, I was aggregating independent pharmacies all across Nigeria, and we rose to have about just under 1,000 pharmacies. It's never been done before in Nigeria. I could say then that I had the largest network of pharmacies across Africa. But I didn't rest on that, because at a point in time, there were those who tussled with me, who made it very uncomfortable to continue to run that. I abandoned that model and became more focused on these pharmacies. So hear me out. I'm not asking you to abandon things when they're not there are many entrances into a market. So pivoting is a way that you can go with. Don't burn bridges. As much as possible, don't burn bridges. Find ways to do things that you will maintain relationships. I have a young entrepreneur that I counseled at the time. She felt she had been cheated by an event planner. And she came to me that she wants to sue the event planner, blah, blah, blah. And she was crying. She was really upset. I said, please wait. Let me speak to this event planner. This person you are talking about doesn't behave rashly. So I want to hear from her. She was our brother. Anyway, tracked her, found out that, I heard the other side of the story, brought them together. Today, that event planner is her biggest champion, supports her, promotes her, does things with her, and I'm glad they didn't burn that bridge. So which bridges are you burning now? Try as much as possible to look at them another way, and maybe you can approach it differently. Money matters as well, okay? So don't ignore money, because sometimes we're working so hard, running on an empty gas, that we forget that, look, you need to reward yourself, reward your team, pay for things, and don't be a liability on others. Trust your instincts. There was once I was offered a lot of money for a large percentage of shares in my company. And at the point in my journey that I was offered that money, I was totally broke, totally in debt, owing up and down. But my instincts just said this was a bad marriage. Told me that, look, remember when women get battered and they come out of relationships saying, I saw the signs before I entered, but I ignored them. That was how I felt entering that relationship, and I backed off. Today, I'm glad I backed off. Not that the person has done anything nasty, but just because I now have better peace of mind with the option I went for. So trust your instincts. You're the one building the platform business. You're the one building the venture. Go for it, but go with it with your heart. Venture builders and accelerators also support you. Don't ignore them. I'm not saying you should go and start chasing after accelerator programs, this hackathon, that hackathon, this prize, that's out. No, please calm down. But when you find one that combines knowledge, exposure, network, and